Hi, this screencast is for creating a histogram in Excel using the data analysis tool. So first thing is to get that tool, data analysis tool up and running, and we select histogram from the list. And let's start from scratch here. We put in the range of where the data is. So I'm going to go down to the bottom of the range of data. There's 130 data values, and just select all those values. And this includes the label. I include the heart rate in there, so yeah, I want to click that label box. All right, output range. So if we select output range, that means we're going to keep the results, the output, in this tab, in this sheet, and I can just select where I want the upper left part of that output to be. So I'll just click on D1 and then make sure that that chart button is selected as well. Okay, so that's going to give us the frequency table and the histogram chart. Let's look at the frequency table to begin with. Let's start off by formatting these values. We want to format those numbers so that they have one more decimal place than the original data. So we got out to one decimal place. Okay, now what these values are the upper boundary of the class intervals for the histogram. So this first category where it says 57, this is saying from 0 to 57, there's a frequency of 2 people that have a heart rate in that interval. This next one is saying greater than 57 up to and including 59.9. There are also 2 people that have a heart rate in that interval. The next interval goes from greater than 59.9 up to and including 62.8. And in that class interval, there's 4. Okay, that pattern continues up to this one. We've got from 83.2, greater than 83.2, up to and including 86.1, there are 7 people with heart rate in that class interval. And there are 3 people that have heart rate of more than 86.1. So we're going to label this column to have something a little bit more meaningful than bin. So we can call it up to and including. Kind of gives us an idea that it's the upper, or the upper boundary of that class interval. All right, we'll do some other formatting here. Okay, so that's the frequency table. Excel created that for us and then created this histogram from that. So we have to do a few things to the histogram. First of all, histograms don't have space in between the rectangles or the bars, so we need to remove that space. To do that, let's go into the chart. We're going to double click and it's going to highlight those bars and give us the side formatting bar that we can use to shrink that gap. So we want to take that gap width all the way down to 0. Now when we do that, it makes it so the bars are right next to each other and it's hard to distinguish one from another. So we can put in a border on those bars, and so we can make that a solid line. We can format that any way we want. We can make that border any color we want, and we can make it a different thickness. We want to make it a little thicker, we can do that. You can kind of play around with different colors with the way it looks there. Okay, so click out of there, and there we've got the histogram now, bars all next to each other. We need to do a little bit more formatting. This frequency down here, this is really not adding any information. It's kind of repeating what this vertical label is telling us, so we can just delete that. Now, we can increase font size. So let's increase this font size. I think somewhere I said at least 11, and I think that's a pretty good guideline. Sometimes you can go even bigger. And then let's increase frequency, that font size a little bit bigger too. And then we'll increase these values that are giving us that upper boundary. Let's increase those to, let's go back down to 11 there. Okay, now bin, again, we can relabel that to something that has meaning. And we can say up to and including. And then if we kind of want to label what this is, we could say something like beats per minute. And let's make that bold. Okay, make it stand out a little bit more. Okay. All right, we can also rename it with something that has some meaning, and we could say heart rate for adults. Okay, we can make that bigger and make it bold as well. Okay, that is how to make a histogram in Excel.